So, welcome back, viewers and subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. So, in the video about the garage problem, I promised to come back and speak to you about the steps and the arches on the veranda. So, today I'm making good that promise. Now, let's start with the steps. Now, guys, as I'm starting out the video, let me just let you know ahead of time that this discussion is not to blame anyone. This discussion, and this is the whole premise that surrounds this channel, is to help individuals who are building their homes in Jamaica, to help them not to encounter the problems that I encountered. It's a little heads up that I am giving. So this is not a blame game thing, right? So let's start by letting you know that the balusters in this picture, you can get them to buy at a place called Richmond. You don't go into the Richmond town as yet. It's a few miles off the Highgate Road, probably about a mile and a half. So right at the intersection of Richmond and Highgate crossroad, you turn down. And this gentleman sells all kind of balusters and stuff for graves and so on. All right. So you can go there and make your selections. All right. So as I mentioned in the video about the garage debacle, I mentioned that the steps were built, the balusters rather were built after the steps were put in. At the time, we did not put the balusters in when the steps were built or soon after. I think that's how most tradespeople do them. So then it's afterwards that they were constructed. So in the picture, you will see the original step, and then you'll see the gentlemen as they prepare the veranda for the baluster. Okay, so before I proceed, uh, let me give you a little tip up front about the balusters. When you are going to buy the balusters, make sure that they are dressed, because I sent and bought some, and then I went in person about twice and bought some more. And I did not know that they need to be dressed and what dressing means, because I remember the young man changed the date when I was to pick some up that I pre-ordered, and he said he needs to dress them. So when the balusters were being put in, that's when I get to find out that they really weren't dressed. So make sure that they are dressed. Now, there, I must clarify this up front first. There's one tradesman working on this project. So the person who made this step is not the person that is putting in the balusters. Likewise, the arches were built by the person who initially put up the steps. So let me clarify that. So this young man I got to put in balusters, and I was referred to him that, oh yes, he can do this kind of work, and this is the type of work he does. A matter of fact, the columns that are on the veranda, I rented the pipes, the PVC pipes from him to pour the concrete for those columns. Now the columns, you'll see two columns underneath the veranda down the bottom. That material that I used to pour those columns is like a cardboard column that I purchased from Home Depot here in the States. So, just a little bit of background. So, anyhow, we proceeded to put the balusters on. And I was overseas when this was done. And I was given the clear and everything to pay the man and everything was okay. And if you can zoom in on this picture, you'll see that everything didn't he didn't do a good job. Everything wasn't well. Okay. You can see up to right now, the balusters are a little crooked. They are not centered off. Let's put it this way, they are not professionally done. This is a person who was just trying a thing. So then, the lesson in this, make sure you have seen work that your tradesmen recommend other subcontractors to you. Make sure you check them out good and they can do the work and they are not friends with people who are working on the building that recommend them and is gonna get a little cut of money off the side from them. Make sure they know to do. They are not just apprentice that kind of know what to do, that they can do it good. Okay? And the next thing is the columns. The columns weren't finished properly. A matter of fact, when I got the person that did the rendering of the outside of the house, and the same person did the garage rendering, he told me, "Oh, it's cement water he used to dress the columns and blah blah blah, and he can't fix them and a whole lot of stuff." So I ran into big time issue with the veranda. And so after that guy left, the person who was rendering the veranda, no, I included, he's supposed to come in now and do the finishing touch on rendering and finish that part that goes around the arches that goes around that little octagon shaped part of the veranda. And he did a very poor job. Um, Even to this day, I had to put in the grills before I even get them corrected because I was spending quite a bit of time out there. Matter of fact, I made 3 trips during the COVID from 2020 to 2021. I made 3 trips out there and I spent quite a bit of time. So I wanted it grill. So let me clear up my rambling. So the person who did the balusters, that person's job was to install the balusters and finish them, including the columns and the arches. But apparently, the person could not do the job. And so he did not. He told me he finished, and when I came to Jamaica and saw them, I realized the person didn't do a good job and didn't half do what was supposed to be done. So then the person who was rendering the house, he was supposed to go back now and render everything, fix the balusters and what have you. What he did, he half do the baluster. I guess he couldn't do the. And, these are tradesmen that work in the district that I get recommendations for, and oh, they work here and they work there and they help do that job down there and what have you. Bottom line is the person could not produce because this picture you're seeing in the screen is where he started the job from. and he rendered, and when he finished, he didn't have the arches, nice and smooth and everything equal and so on. He did a poor job. So I had to get rid of him. Now compare the balusters on the downstairs to the ones up on the third floor. You will see a stark difference, which I'm going to make a video of the balusters done on the third floor. Those balusters were done while I was in Jamaica. I got somebody that I went and looked at his work that he did. He did some work in the district, and I went and inspected it, and I said, yes, this person can put in baluster. And he put in the balusters on the third floor. Did a very nice job. He did put in also the grills or cast iron. They're not grills, they're cast iron. I bought all those stuff from Miami and brought them down there, and he installed them. Did a good job. Put in the windows on the top floor and all that. So I'm just showing you, when you're there in person to take care of your job yourself, your business yourself, and you know what the outcome should be, and you can run around and do things for yourself, the big difference it makes to having people do these things for you, people who aren't really that reliable, and people who have monetary gains to get from these jobs by getting who they feel are mine, and so on. All right, so that is that for that. So focus your attention, please, on this picture here in the screen. When they were pouring the columns, the board came apart. So the concrete poured bulged. Okay? And look in this next picture. You'll see right above the bay window, a part of the concrete. The same thing happened up there. And when it was time to render the place, and I got the person, agreed on the amount to render. Remember, I told you in the previous video that after he rendered the garage, he told me that I have to pay him the same amount to do the rest of the front of the house, because that price was only for the garage. Well, did you know the bulges that were caused from pouring the concrete and the board shift? I had to pay somebody extra to chip all of those places off. No, what should have been done is, when the person who poured the concrete, when the concrete was green, that person should have chipped it off, because it would be easier to be chipped off. But they didn't. And this is what I'm telling you about. When you're overseas, the people give you short work and bad work because there is nobody there in your best interest, even relatives and people who you think would see to it things go right. They not focus on you. Okay, and it's the truth. I'm not gonna put my mouth underneath some a stock and talk. It is the truth. They're not in your interest. They make their money and they get what they can get, and they don't care if a good job is done and you're stuck with it. So I had to pay people to chip that off. Now, some other um and told me, no, it was that person's job to chip it off because that's included in the job. So you can leave me a comment to let me know what you think. The bottom line is, I'm trying to bring these little issues to light so that it will be a learning experience and somebody can benefit from it. Okay? Okay, guys. So it's not that I'm complaining and negative, guys, but I hope other builders learn something from this experience. And the takeaway points is, if you can be in Jamaica while the build is going on, try to be there. I know some of us have jobs because that's where we get in the money from to do our bill. But what I had to do after all these things happen and others. I haven't mentioned half the problems yet. But after they happen, what I did, I stopped building and I only build when I am there. So I would take off some time and spend a couple weeks and I would do a project, and when that finished, everything closed down and back and forth because I couldn't trust anybody anymore. So that's what I eventually do. And there is still some more work to be done. And that's how I'm approaching it until everything is complete. I have to be there on the ground. So, guys, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Please recommend the channel to your friends that are building and let them get a few pointers. All right, share the story, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.